I love Fox. Every time they talk about the economy, all they want to tout is how people aren't doing well, and it's all Obama's fault. I'm going to play this entire clip from Fox News in their debate over the issues with the economy, and then I'm going to give you my commentary.
Resolve problem segment tonight, the real state of the American economy. This week, President Obama practically proclaimed that the economy has never been better.
America's economy is not just better than it was 8 years ago. It is the strongest, most durable economy in the world. By almost every economic measure, America's better off than when I came here at the beginning of my presidency. That's the truth.
Now you notice that this jerk basically said that Obama was basically saying that the economy's never been better. And if you paid attention to the clip, Obama said that the economy is better now than it was 8 years ago when he first came into office. So that's the first bullshit story.
But the latest jobs report from the Labor Department is painting quite a different picture. Just 38,000 jobs were added in May, the lowest monthly total in 6 years. And Americans' median household income has barely budged since President Obama took office. Joining us now to analyze from Tampa, Florida, Republican strategist Adam Goodman, and from Washington, Democratic strategist Richard Goodstein. Richard, you got to start with you. Timing in life is everything. President Obama comes and takes a victory lap on the economy in Elkhart, Indiana, and less than 48 hours later, this awful jobs report comes out.
Right. So obviously 1 month does not make a trend. This is what, the 75th, 6th, 7th, I can't keep track of how many straight months of private sector job growth that we've had. Look, when Mitt Romney ran 4 years ago, his pledge was to bring unemployment down, not to 4.7 or 5 or 5.5, but to 6. The fact that we're at 4.7% unemployment, putting aside a tripling of the stock market since the lows, GDP up by over a third, and household income is up. I mean, by any measure, Eric, I have to think that if you had painted the picture of what the economy
I have
has
other
done,
measures. You said any measure. I have other measures.
Well,
94 million Americans are not in the labor force, and that is
you know
a
what
record.
that includes, Eric?
Wages are flat under President Obama. How about this one? The 38,000 jobs that were created in May came 130,000 short of estimates. And some analysts say, Adam, that this could be leading to another recession.
Eric, let me ask you, and Richard, would you like to run on this record? The wealth gap is increasing, the middle class is shrinking. 500,000 Americans in May alone stopped looking for work. They were so discouraged. 47% of Americans today have no more than $400 in reserve in case something happens. We've got an economy that explains why 2 out of 3 Americans are really down the mouth about where America's been heading. And if this is a referendum on this status quo, I can tell you Donald Trump will be smiling his way all the way to the White House.
All right, so I'm doing the math. 6 months until the election, Richard. Is this a smart thing for Hillary Clinton to do, to ride President Obama's economic coattails, given what we just saw? We may slide into negative job growth or recession.
Look, the reason that job participation is where it is because every single day 10,000 baby boomers are retiring, okay? 4.7 is something to celebrate, not bemoan. Look, the fact of the matter is Donald Trump, don't ask me, ask Mitt Romney. He said that Donald Trump's economic policies would lead to a recession, okay? When Bill Clinton was president, we had the most robust economic growth and job creation ever, right? So when people say, oh my God, we have to go back to the 90s, please, God.
You know, listen,
Yes.
I can play statistical gymnastics with you all day long. Oh, sure it is. Because, Adam, if you put those 94 million back in, or at least the reasonable number of those 94 million back in, or the same percentage as when President Obama took office, the unemployment rate balloons to somewhere around 9%. Also, incomes are flat, wages are flat, and net worth, household net worth, Adam, is lower under President Obama. These are not good numbers for the middle class.
They're not good numbers. Maybe the numbers that Wall Street looks at and the compensation they're getting is just fine. Go to Main Street. Ask the people in places like Danville and Modesto and Yuma how well they're doing. They're going to tell you they're not doing well at all, which is why, Eric, one of the things that Donald Trump has advanced in terms of investing in America is investing in infrastructure. And you've probably all been reading headlines recently about how we not only have 50,000 bridges that are in total disrepair and 1/3 of our roads are in horrible shape, but even the subway system in Washington, D.C. is so bad they may have to close it down for 6 months. Americans want they want to invest back in America again, and this jobs record, as much as Hillary's going to have problems with the FBI, the Inspector General, Bernie Sanders, and everything else will have problems with this as
Richard, let me answer this.
All right, let me stop it there. I was going to try to wait, but I just can't. He mentioned infrastructure. Who is responsible for the infrastructure? Isn't that Congress? And they have delayed putting together a meaningful infrastructure bill ever since Obama basically took office. Now again, Obama had control of the Congress, or the Democrats did, for the first 2 years, and yes, they did not concentrate on infrastructure. But the Senate and the House of Representatives have consistently pushed back against Obama every time he mentions infrastructure. Infrastructure used to be a nonpartisan position taken by both parties. It's estimated now that this country needs approximately $10 trillion worth of infrastructure work to be done in order to bring our country up to par. The Republicans are always touting that government doesn't create jobs. Well, who the hell creates the jobs when it comes to infrastructure if it's not the government? If the Congress had cooperated with Obama and put a major infrastructure package together, because we definitely need work on our roads, our bridges, our water systems, i.e. lead pipes in Flint, New Jersey, and other areas, and an obvious upgrade in our electrical system. That alone would generate enough jobs that would more than pay for the expenditures in the form of taxes being paid and an increase in our GDP, as well as just an overall positive feeling of people working. You're talking about the unemployment rate being approximately 4.6. With a major infrastructure package put together, you probably would get that number dropped down to somewhere below 4%. So you can put it on Obama all you want, but the Congress, and in particular the House of Representatives, will not put together an infrastructure program because they believe that that would just strengthen the country's view of the Democratic Party. All right, let's continue.
So absolutely, under President Obama, Wall Street has scored. They've had they've had windfall years, and that's fantastic. But as Adam pointed out, income inequality, the gap between the rich and the poor has widened. So rich are getting richer, poor are getting poorer.
That's true. And again, sorry to come back to this, we're in a political season. Donald Trump's tax plan is geared to benefiting the top 0.1% Look, all those bridges that Adam talks about being built, how is the Trump economy with $10 trillion less in revenue by virtue of his tax plan going to help? I mean, how do we build bridges by being $10 trillion poorer?
Right.
Look, there's a reason.
Final thought, Adam, you gotta be quick.
He's going to do what Ronald Reagan did. He's going to cut taxes and regulations, and he's going to get America back to work again. And Ronald Reagan did very well on all the income in this economic
Clinton did better.
You hope that Obama would have been championing. He is not.
You gotta leave it right there, Adam and Richard. Thank you very much, both of you guys. Up ahead.
Yeah, and he's right. Clinton did do better. And Reagan, basically, he was a big defense spender, and he ran some pretty sizable deficits. Now, in comparison to the deficits we're running now, they were basically peanuts, but he did run really sizable deficits. So everybody always lauds on St. Ronald Reagan, but he wasn't as great as everybody says he was. Yeah, he did have tax cuts, which basically benefited the rich, and the middle class basically got the shaft.